On this episode of the OverArch Podcast, I'm sitting down with Nick Baer, a realtor with 23 years in the game and with a story that spans continents. Born in Manila, raised in the UK with Argentinian roots, Nick made bold decisions early, leaving Buenos Aires in 2003, skipping university, and ultimately building a life and business here in Canada. Today, he's not just closing deals, he's building something bigger than the transaction. Here he is, Nick Baer.
You are listening to OverArch.
So Nick, we're rolling. So
Okay.
everything's here. So welcome to the show. Welcome to OverArch Podcast. It's not really a show; it's a podcast more than anything. Just to give you an idea of what we sort of talk about, we like to dive into people's careers and sort of see where they are today. Take a look back, sort of as a young lad, how you sort of got to where you are today, and with all those decisions that you made and things like that. So you've got an interesting sort of timeline. You've seen some of the world, it looks like, for sure. So let's start with where you are today. So Nick, do you mind just give you a brief introduction, sort of who you are, kind of what you're doing as a career right now and how long you've been doing it? Just give me the and what you got later on today to do.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've been in Canada for 10 years now. So I've been licensed as a realtor over here since 2017, 2018. Still doing the same career. It's what I've been doing for 23 years now. It's been a change.
23 years?
Yeah.
Okay. You look quite young. When did you start? When you were 10?
I was, I think I must be 22, 23.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was quite
Good
young.
boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much I would say the main career of my life.
So for 23 years, it seems like you kind of know your stuff and you're passionate about it. You kind of enjoy the process. I guess when you first started your career, looking at the whole prospect, could you see yourself where you are today, 23 years ago? Like looking back a little bit and go, wow, yeah, okay, here I am.
Yeah.
A little bit of self-reflection there.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I look back to why I got into real estate was partly because I didn't know what else to do at that point.
Okay.
It was a recommendation from a friend, and I was trying to figure out my way, my path. I didn't know whether to go to school or do what. And so I thought I'd give that a go, see where it takes me.
And so what age were you when that happened? Like that decision?
Around 22, 23.
Okay. So that's a huge pivotal moment for a lot of us, right? That career, like, okay,
exactly.
I got time to grow up.
Yeah.
To do it. So at that point, it was something where, let's give it a try. Not sure what it's going to be like.
Yep.
But to stick with it for 23 years, obviously there becomes a passion about it. You kind of like, what do you like most about the business, I guess?
It's
looking back.
I would say, there was a moment in my career where I was considering pivoting into another direction. So
when was that?
The moment I moved to Canada. So I'd been doing it 12 years in London. When I moved here, part of it was a fresh start. My daughter was only a year or so old. My wife wanted to be near her family, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to try something new. And I think I became a little jaded with the career a little bit after doing it 12 years. It's
especially in the UK. In the UK. In London.
In London. Yeah.
So you're selling like some old homes and stuff then. Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay. That's a whole other.
Totally different.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we don't deal with what's the sorry. I know this is going on a side here.
No.
I'm just gonna ask you this question. I think we're gonna drop right into as a young person.
Yeah.
Because you've got quite a journey ahead.
Yeah.
For sure. So just to the real estate in London, what's the oldest house you've ever got to look at?
Most of them were Victorian or Georgian. So we're talking early 18 to mid 1800s.
Wild.
Yeah. Majority of what I sold. Very, very occasionally I would sell something that would be less than 20 years old.
Oh my goodness. What's it like with some of those homes going in there? Did you feel like an energy, or it's like how many?
Sometimes, yeah. It depends. Some of them had not been touched since maybe the 70s.
Okay.
Some of them had been renovated. I say renovated. And they just stripped out all the original Victorian features. They completely varied. That's what I loved about those homes.
Oh my goodness!
Is that from the outside they all looked fairly similar, all from the same era, but how they'd been, how people had lived in them over the years was quite interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's wild.
And especially the neighborhood I was in was very diverse. So it was, very, very interesting.
So when you open those doors, it was like you had no idea what you're going to walk into.
Often, no.
Wasn't the cookie cutter homes like that? You're going to build 20 homes. They're kind of the similar layouts.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I don't know if do you come across any hauntings or I don't know.
Well, actually, that's something that is very different between here and the UK in terms of not an obsession, but people. The thought of someone having died in a home here is perceived very differently back in the UK because obviously something that was built in 1800.
Absolutely.
Chances are someone's died in
There's
that
a history.
house.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Whereas here it's it's much more of a stigma, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Well, our house is only 10, 20, 30 years old, right? So
yeah.
No, that's fascinating. That's something I just sort of popped in my head. Like that would be a cool, like selling that old property. Like I can't imagine. So as a young person, what was your first sort of career? At what age do you remember doing your first job, and what was it?
Apart from sort of work experience that you do when you're in high school, my first job was it was putting up marquees. I don't think you call them marquees here. They're like big tents that you use for weddings. And a friend of mine from high school, his dad owned the business. And I had to earn a bit of money.
Oh, yeah.
I
Cool.
think soon after. It was just after I finished high school before I moved to Argentina for my gap year.
You were born, were you born in the UK?
I wasn't. No, I was born in the Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, we've like I said, we've got a world journey here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in high school there. Yeah, go for it.
That was my first job. So that was putting up these enormous tents that could fit hundreds of people for weddings or whatever it may be. And we'd be up at the crack of dawn and driving to wherever in the truck and putting up these huge tents.
Yeah.
And that was an awful job.
Yeah.
Paid
How old were you?
I must have been, I don't know, 17, 18.
Okay.
I didn't do much before that because I was at a boarding school.
Okay.
So working weekends was tough when you.
Absolutely. So that was kind of your first known job was so you're right into the manual labor.
Yeah.
You probably paid okay.
Actually, it was reasonable.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank God. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair because that's the last thing. My first job was pulling weeds at my grandma's orchard area, and
Right.
I think I got paid like lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like looking back, but I mean, it's your grandma. You're helping her out, but like, come on,
Exactly.
give me a fiver. Let me do some video games later. Okay, so as you're sort of in high school, so you kind of high school is kind of when you start doing your work there.
Yep.
What after high school? What were your decisions to be made there? You graduated. How old are you in the?
About 18.
Okay, 18.
Yeah.
You were still in the UK at that time?
Yep.
Okay, so we're 18, UK. You've got some life choices to make at this stage in your life. It's fair to say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what was that process like? Done high school?
Yeah. Well, it's before that. I mean, for the 2 years before I graduated, you're put on this. The school's sort of building the momentum for you to figure out what it is you're gonna do at university. You've got to pick the right subjects that are going to allow you to do whatever it is you choose to do at university.
Yeah.
You start drawing down the options of universities you want to go to. And I had no idea. From the age of 16 to 18, no clue.
Not many do.
No. And a lot of my friends did. A
Oh, they
lot
did?
of them had, they're,
But
my
do
closest-
they really? No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, they're either, some of them were going to be sort of engineers. They had these big subjects and they knew which direction they wanted to go in. Whether or not they do that these days is another matter. But at that point, they had at least a path they could follow.
Yeah.
For me, I just couldn't wait for the day to be done with school and I could be out in the world and find my own path and figure out what that is. Because school didn't help me with that at all.
Yeah.
I had a great time, but it didn't give me. I didn't have that vision of where I wanted my life to go. So, my mum being from Argentina, as a place that I'd not spent an awful lot of time in, and maybe been once or twice as a child, I was really, I don't know why, but I just wanted to go there. I wanted to spend a year there and stay with my uncle, and I was hoping that maybe that would, I don't know, foster something in me.
Yeah,
that, gave
yeah.
me-
Well, that sense of adventure too, right? Like
Yeah.
to go off and just, I mean, I just admire that sense of like, no, my life isn't here. I've got to get out. and
That's
see.
right.
So you made that decision. So you had your high school, and what were you planning to do Buenos Aires. That's where you
Yep.
wanted to go.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
So I went to finish high school. I think I had, after the marquee job that I was telling you about, straight after that, I got on a plane and
Okay.
I stayed with my uncle. It was supposed to be 1 year. Didn't do an awful lot, really. I started, spent a lot of time with him. He was close to retirement at that point.
Okay.
I met another Brit who was living there who taught English as a foreign language. And he said, Nick, you should give this a go. You'd be pretty good. You like chatting to people and you don't need any education, nothing. You speak English, so you'll be fine. And that was my second career.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't call it a career, but that was my second job.
It's a pretty good job.
And
Pretty good.
started doing that and earned actually pretty good money. Wasn't teaching kids. I was teaching business people. I was teaching adults.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you have their full attention.
Yeah.
They want to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not to say kids don't, but sometimes it's like you have to learn a language versus I need to learn a language.
Yeah.
What was that like? I'm sure you met some great people.
Oh, yeah. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think that's where I realized I wanted to work with people. I was fascinated. I just
Interesting. Okay.
the variety of personalities, careers, and they were so inquisitive about me as well. My background. Argentina is a long way away from most other places.
Absolutely.
That's something I found very interesting about the Argentinians is that they were also very interested in knowing a lot about me.
Oh, that's
And,
cool.
even at that age, without that much life experience. So there was this sort of, I don't know, at that point I found it fascinating. I enjoyed the job because of the people more than what I was doing.
Yeah.
The money worked out to be quite good as well.
So when you had that moment with the people, was it kind of, I mean, looking back, sort of what you do today, you can sort of see how the connections are starting to sort of make sense, right? When you're making those connections with people, was that, I mean, it sounds like in high school, you're doing your thing, but there was a moment in your life there where you kind of had this spark maybe, or a moment where I enjoy this process here.
Yes.
Tell me about how that felt, or looking back, like, was it, so from there you were thinking, how long did you teach English for then? Was there?
Well, I ended up spending almost 5 years in Buenos Aires.
And how long were you teaching English there?
Pretty much the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Among other things. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a professional career decision there. That's pretty cool. So was there a moment in time here where obviously you're not teaching English now?
No.
In Buenos Aires. What was the next step after that in your career? Probably a big decision for you.
Well, part of the reason why I stayed was because I met a girl.
Yes, that happens. Yes, I've heard that. I've heard that story.
And I think I got to the point where after about 4 or 5 years living there, I enjoyed my time in Buenos Aires, but it wasn't going anywhere. And I had that pressure of, I need to give some direction to my life. Am I going to go to university? I had a university place already accepted after my first year. So the idea was I would do 1 year in Buenos Aires and then return to London, go to, I think it was Portsmouth University, studying business studies and Spanish, just because I had to pick something.
Yeah.
I decided that's not what I wanted to do, so I stayed on. And when I got to the end of around 5 years, I had this moment. Actually, it was a friend of mine back in the UK. He was a bit worried about me at that point. He said, you're at a point where you need to make a decision, Nick.
And what age was this? What, roughly?
About 21, 22.
Okay.
Yeah, about 20, almost 23.
So this was, the moment that you were sort of teaching English for 5 years.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that what we're talking about here?
Yeah,
So,
about towards the end.
Okay.
Of that time was when I realized I can't just teach English for the rest of my life. I was working privately. I was working for various institutes. The money was very up and down.
Yeah.
The economy in Argentina was bad.
Okay.
The first year was excellent. Everything was going fine, and then they went through a financial crisis in 2019. When was it? The year 2000.
Okay.
It was. And that was bad. That was a bad time for everybody.
Yeah.
But I stuck with it. I tried to make it work, and it just got to the point where I realized there was no future for me.
Okay.
And that's when I made the move to come back, go back to London.
How long was that process of that decision making? Like, I mean, obviously you were there, you wanted to make it work, but
Yep.
you're feeling like, okay, I'm not seeing a horizon here.
No.
I'm not seeing. So that kind of, was it a week process where finally you're like, listen, I don't think this is gonna, I mean, it's great you're optimistic,
Yep.
but there comes a point where you're like, no, this is it. So
Yep.
what was that like when you sort of had to tell people, book the ticket, tell the girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
maybe things like that? Take me through that a little bit, that
Honestly,
life-changing.
it was about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a phone call from my really good friend back in the UK saying, Nick, you're going to screw up your life. You need to do something about this. He called me at like 5 o'clock in the morning or something.
Wow. Okay.
And I had the chat with him. I was living with the girlfriend at the time. She was curious about how that conversation went. I spent the whole day thinking about it. By the end of that day, I was like, yeah, that's it. Broke up the relationship.
Yeah.
Booked my plane ticket back to London. And that was it. It was done.
Wow.
It very, very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it must have been, I mean, it's a long time ago now, so it's hard to remember, but it must have been at the back of my mind for a little while. And I was just pushing it away. It's hard because if you don't know what you're going to, I have no idea where things are going to go. I landed in London with no plan whatsoever. Moving back to my mum's, I'd spent, my life as an adult so far away from my parents, and now you're back at your mum's place. It's
Wow.
that was a tough time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, thanks for sharing, because yeah, it is tough. There are moments in our lives where it's like, we don't know what the heck's going to happen.
No.
But you do, the fact that you knew you had to take that, you're not just going to settle. No, I have to make that decision.
Yeah.
So now that you're in London, couch surfing at Mum's.
Yep.
So take me through that process there, kind of what your decision-making process, your feelings at the time. Like, I can't imagine, like, okay, first of all, I have no idea what I'm going to do. So when do you start to know what you're going to do, roughly?
So at that point, it was a question of, I think I'd made the decision I was going to go to university at that moment, but I didn't have any money. I didn't fancy the idea of borrowing the money to go to university either. So I thought, I'm going to try and work, build up a bit of a nest egg, and then go. I can't even remember what it was I was going to study. I think maybe public relations or something. I still didn't know what I wanted to do at that point, but I felt it needed to be something that was, working with people in some business environment.
Yeah.
And it was talking to the same guy who kind of sowed the seed that persuaded me to move back to the UK. It was the same guy that then recommended I go into real estate.
Okay.
Because he did it and was so terrible at it.
Okay, so he recommends, hey, you should do it. I tried it. I suck, but you have a chance. I guess he knew you as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
oh
very
yeah,
good.
we were
Good
tight.
friends.
We were at boarding school together.
Okay.
We were friends for a long time. He knew.
That's quite funny. He knew he sucked, but hey, I think I've got something for you. That's hilarious. So you gave that a shot, or how does that process work in the UK? Like, you just sort of go and put a sign in front of a house, or is there licensing, or what did you have to do?
Well, no, you don't need a license at all.
Okay.
It's almost completely unregulated.
Okay.
Initially, so the first job I took was a contact of my friend's, who was just starting up her own brokerage. She was a one-man band.
Okay.
In Mayfair, so one of the most expensive parts of London. And she had this tiny little office at the top of an old building, right in the attic area.
Yeah.
It was the middle of summer, it was roasting hot, and I got the job. It wasn't paid; it was purely commission. And all I'd do every day is she'd come in, have a newspaper with the classifieds, and go, Nick, you need to spend the next 2 hours calling these classifieds and get us some listings. And so I'd be doing that for free.
So the classifieds, were there people selling houses
Yep.
through the classifieds?
Yep.
Okay.
So these were people, for sale by owner.
Yeah, I see.
I'd call them up and try and set up an appointment, go around there, have a chat, try and win the business.
Yeah.
And
it's better to come with us than do it on your own.
and do it on your own, and
Yeah.
it went okay,
Yeah.
but it was hard work. I had to
for
pay. I was traveling from my mother's place in Greater London. It would take me, I had to take a bus, 2 trains, subway, and walk to the office every day
Whoa.
in the
Okay.
blistering heat. So I had to wear a suit.
Oh my
and
goodness.
did that for not long, 3 weeks.
Okay.
And I threw in the towel. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this isn't for me.
Well, it's
And
not sustainable.
no, it was awful. And then my buddy said, try it again. Just try a brokerage, someone more established. I thought, where in London do I know? My uncle spent a lot of his life living in a lot of his time in London, living in Holland Park and Notting Hill.
Okay.
Again, very nice, affluent parts of the city. Got a job at a brokerage there. I lasted 3 months this time.
Okay.
Didn't
Yeah.
sell a thing. I was like, this is not for me. Really.
Was it all commission based as well
all,
there too?
all commission
Oh
based?
my goodness. So
nothing at all.
you don't want to take a loan for school yet. You're just, you're paying to try and sell houses.
It's costing me money
Yeah.
to do this every day.
Very hard to sustain.
And my manager at that brokerage, really nice guy, he said to me, look, Nick, you are cut out to do it. I'll remember this to this day. You are cut out to do this. I think you're in the wrong market. You need to go somewhere. You got to understand, Notting Hill, Holland Park, these are places where even back then, an apartment would set you back well over $1 million. And this is going back 20, almost 25 years now. It's very expensive. So you're dealing with people with a lot of money. They've bought many, many times. And here I turn up, 22, 23-year-old in an ill-fitting suit, trying to sell these. But it just didn't work. So he said, you need to go somewhere where the market, are people like you. So he suggested Clapham, which is in South London. And so I joined a brokerage there, and immediately my business just took off.
Wow. Okay.
And it was almost instantaneous. And
That's
I was dealing with people my own age, young professionals, early 20s, working in the city, going to the same bars as me, doing exactly the same thing. And I just had this immediate connection because I was dealing with people at the same stage as life.
What a smart mentor at that time in your life to say, hey, I can see, kind of knows where your strengths are and puts you in the right direction.
Exactly.
So that's kind of a nice pivot moment. So as you're kind of motoring in this new industry where things are kind of clicking, I'm getting some paychecks. That must be nice too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So how long were you there doing that for that process?
How long was I at that brokerage?
Yeah, at that brokerage.
12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was working. It was working.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that was some of the best times of my life at that brokerage. I stuck with it partly because I loved the job, but it was a great team of people.
Coming back to the people.
Yeah. I love the people I worked with. They were like family. Like when I got married, several of them were, as part of the wedding party as well. It's
Not just invited; they were part of the wedding party.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That means a lot. So as you're sort of in that career, things are going well. Sounds like you're getting married there. You're kind of like settling in. You're going to have 2.5 kids soon and a white picket fence. But there's some changes that happened.
Yes. So
You decided to make a break.
move again.
Yeah. So tell me about that process in your life with, career-wise, things are sounding like you're 12 years, you're well established.
Yep.
You could probably stay there. You could have probably stayed there forever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Business was good.
Yeah.
Things were going in the right direction.
What were you feeling at that point to make the change, though? What was happening?
A few things.
Okay.
We had our first child, Zara,
Okay.
in 2014. And that was great. We were so happy, and we were planning on staying in London at that point. And what I found is the minute, and you'll know this too, the minute you have a child, everything changes. My career up until that point had been 12-hour days,
Yeah.
70-hour weeks, working almost every weekend, and I didn't care. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Again, I was working with my friends, my family, doing something I really enjoyed. But then all of a sudden, you're responsible for a child. You're married. You have your real family, and the lifestyle just didn't work anymore. It wasn't clicking. I found that balance really hard. It made me quite anxious. I was always trying to find this balance, and it just wasn't working for me. And then we traveled to Canada to visit my wife's family.
Okay.
And that's when all of a sudden the sort of wheels started moving. We started thinking about maybe moving to Canada would be a good idea. She wanted to be near her family anyway.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, especially with a child.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
that
huge.
really was the main thing. I think regardless of what was going on with my career at that time, Laura wanted to be with her sister, living here, and providing that lifestyle that this city offers for our child. London's great, but it's a hard place to raise a family.
I bet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and plus, once you become the parent and you do like, yeah, you're right. Your life just switches, especially if you're like planned parenting and you're together. It's not like oh my goodness, a teenage accident. That's a whole other kind of world when you have a child. But when you're planned parenthood and you're looking to, raise that next generation, you know, your legacy is with them. Your decisions all become family first.
Totally.
Like they should. And so that makes perfect sense. So what was it like? You went to just visit, but apparently that was then you came back to the UK, and what was going through your guys' mind? Did you guys have a conversation about, okay, let's consider moving here?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Do you know what? Actually, thinking about it, I think we did that trip before Zara was even born.
Oh, okay.
Come to think of it, yeah. Because my wife and I, we enjoyed traveling. We had a great life in London. We were at a point where we were not planning a family wasn't really on the cards, and it was actually the trip to Canada and seeing my brother and sister-in-law, and they'd had their first child.
Oh, okay.
That kind of made us start rethinking that plan, because actually we just had that conversation before we got married. We're like, do we want to have kids? And we kind of looked at our life, and we were pretty happy as things were. And at that point, I was already 30. My wife's a little bit older than me. And we would have been quite happy keeping things as they were.
Yeah.
And it was that trip, visiting family, where all of a sudden things started to change a little bit for us.
Yeah.
Then we returned to the UK, and that's when we started, deciding, we've got married, we then had Zara. We stuck it out for about a year. But of course, trying to get the permanent residency and all of that stuff takes time too.
Yeah.
So yeah, eventually we made it over here, but
How old was your daughter when you made it over to Canada?
about a year.
Okay, so it was quite soon after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, plus, seeing your friends' families grow up, and you kind of go like, in your life to like, what is life all about? And then I think once you get those kids and your family and you've got your unit together, it really makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You're kind of there for them to make sure they have a good good living, good upbringing, and being close to family when you have a young family is
Totally
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So now that you're okay, so is it fair to sort of say now we've established ourselves in Canada here? We've just moved. You've left your other career behind.
Yeah.
So once again, you're getting off a plane with
Yep.
what am I gonna do? So what was that like? What was that process like? Obviously, you had family here to sort of get you settled, but the real estate, was that on your mind, or were you going to try something new? What was the?
I was open to it. I actually didn't know. And it's funny, you'd think giving up a good career where everything's going well, moving across the world, young baby. I look back, I wasn't nervous at all. I was perfectly calm about the whole thing. I was convinced that we were doing the right thing. We have done the right thing. I look back and I think, gosh, could I do that now? I don't think I could. But at that point, we both knew this is what we needed to do.
Isn't that a weird feeling to have? Though you're right. Like, could I do that again? Looking back, you're going, no, there's no way. But at the time, you're like, yep, this is the right decision. I don't know if it's some energy sort of gives you the strength to, okay. Plus you have your family. That's a huge thing, because you're like, well, no matter where you are in the world, as long as you have your family. Really short story here. I remember I went to Anaheim one year for a job, and we were filming, and then it's, hey, we're just kind of hanging out. I went to Disneyland, like the outside of Disneyland, and it was just me, and I was walking around going, man, this sucks, because my wife and child were not here, and I'm like, okay, it wasn't even cool. I just felt like if you're not here with your family, it's just not the same place, right? So yeah, that's important. So now that you're here in Canada, though, like what did you try other than real estate? Were you thinking of there?
So I did say, I do, it's funny thinking about it now, but I did say to my wife, I wanted to try and maybe go for the RCMP or do something completely different.
Yeah.
I thought this was a good opportunity to try something new. But I gave myself a year. So I said, right, we'll move to Canada. I'll take a year sabbatical, give it some time, see where the chips fall. And Laura was like, you've done real estate for a long time. Just get your license. Do that first. And take your time with it. Just enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Enjoy this year and see where things go. And I said, yeah, fine. Okay. So I'll just do it just to have that option. And in that time of going through the course and understanding how the system worked over here compared to the UK, I got excited about staying in real estate at that point.
Oh, right.
Because actually I was ready to give it up. Not because I didn't enjoy it, but I felt that with this new chapter, I should try, I was 35 at the time. I thought I'm still young enough that I could try something completely new.
Yeah.
That would be exciting, a new challenge. But by going through that course, I had no idea how real estate worked in North America, like nothing. And by going through that course, it gave me sort of a glimpse of how it could be. And I think because my experience of real estate and having a young family in London was so tough, that was pretty much the only reason why I wanted to make a career change. And when I realized that you're self-employed, you can manage your own time, it seemed like it would fit. It would be more conducive to having a family.
Yes, I see.
And so I started to get much more excited about the idea of it. And then through making various friends in Chilliwack who had connections with real estate agents, I had a few conversations there. And then I really got excited about the idea of getting into it, especially given that it's so much more relational here than it is in the UK.
Okay, interesting. Well, so just give me a brief perspective. So what's the difference between the UK and the real estate here? Like,
I mean, there's a lot of differences, but the fundamental difference is that you work for a brokerage. You are somewhat employed, although most of your income is commission-based.
I see.
So the listings, everything belong to the brokerage, and you work there as either a salesperson, a manager. So you have to work times that are dictated to you. So I would have to not clock in, but I'd be there at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
You're an employee of a company, and you're clocking in, clocking out.
That's right. And so there's that structure to it. Whereas over here, obviously, that's not the case.
No, you're your business, right? So you do. So I could see how the hours, especially with a family, that's unbelievable. Like how you can dictate when you can work and whatnot. Obviously, sometimes the market, I'm sure you can attest to, is like we got to sell. When we bought our house here, we signed the contract at midnight.
Yeah.
It was insane. So I'm sure there's moments like that for you.
There are, but it's they're sort of few and far between.
Yeah.
Whereas over there, it was every single day. I'd be there 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'd be leaving at 7 o'clock in the evening every single day.
Yeah.
And I'd be working by the time I was at the end of my London career, I wasn't working as many weekends. I was a director of the business. I had sort of part ownership. So then at that point, I had a bit more freedom, but I was responsible for a team. And so I was still very busy, even though I could pick and choose my hours a little bit better.
I see.
Yeah.
So when you're here, though, when you're taking that course, when did it? I mean, how long was the course? How long did you take for the licensing here in BC?
About 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months. So at that, how soon into when you're just sort of dabbling, were you realizing, hey, this could be pretty sweet? This could be a good little lifestyle.
It was pretty quick. I think it was.
Good.
Part of the course, there's a bunch of lectures you can go to at UBC, and that's where I met a bunch of other people going through the same process as me.
Oh, right on.
And then afterwards we go for some beers and everything, have a bit of a chat. And that was when I started to get a bit more of an understanding on how things worked.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea at all. And at that point, that's when I realized, this is something that could really work for me. Because it kind of brings back to the reason why I was teaching and why I enjoyed teaching.
I was gonna bring this up, but please go.
Yeah, it reinvigorated. I remember that moment when I was teaching, and I just enjoyed the people. And when my career took off in London, it was the same reason. It was It was the people I would find myself showing houses and then seeing them at the bar afterwards. It was that relational aspect of it, which I suppose over time, the job became more transactional.
Yeah.
And as I got older
Yeah.
and more established, and also becoming more responsible for a team, I was less in front of the public,
Yeah.
I would say. And then when I realized I can get back to that again, and it would be about building community and having close relationships with people I'm doing business with,
Yeah.
that excited me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what got me back into it again. Yeah.
Well, were you always kind of a people, I mean, introvert, extrovert, I guess, but a people person,
Yep.
like, yeah, sort of your, well, I mean, I met you, we play squash. I mean, a lot of people on this podcast are from the squash community, but, and it's, not the vegetable, just to be clear. That's kind of how we met, just
Yep.
sort of through that community and whatnot. And then we've kind of built a really cool community that we all kind of do business with and whatnot. We help each other out. So it's, yeah, it's perfect. I love it. So now that you've been a real estate agent, which brings me back to the people person, what is your philosophy now? And then I've got a few more questions here I want to ask you looking back and tell your younger self, but what's your philosophy now that you're sort of this kind of real estate agent in Canada, more of a personable, not the brokerage?
Yep.
What are your philosophies on that? And how do you sort of look at your career, your position, and how do you treat it?
I'm trying to stay true to that. I mean, there's so many different ways of running a real estate business. If I wanted to be, I could run it in very much the same way as I did in London, which is very much a numbers game, very transactional. I've chosen that I want to love what I do. I want to enjoy the job that I have, and I found that the best times of my career back in London were the times when I was in front of people and building those connections. And I just thrive in those situations. And the minute it becomes more transactional and more about the job than than the people, I just enjoy it less. I don't want to sound cheesy or anything. No. It almost feels like you're not working in a way.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, it's fair. So when you get that first phone call, if a cold call, someone comes or calls you up, hi, my name is.
Yeah.
So you must get a little excited to get to meet someone new and sort of take them through a process and whatnot. So that's something exciting for you.
It is, yeah. I prefer it. The way I've sort of taken my business is that most of the time when people do call, it is through somebody else that I know.
Okay.
It's mostly referral based.
Okay.
And that's deliberate.
Yes.
I've spent a lot of time trying to make sure that that's my focus, that I spend time with the people around me. I have my network of people, it's friends, family, colleagues. Squash is a great one as well. And most of my business comes from those sources now. So it's not a case of, I don't tend to get calls out of the blue going, hey,
what was it like when you first started? Like, what was it?
Hard.
Yeah, hard.
Really hard.
Okay, so take me through that really quick, or not really quick, but just take me through what was it like establishing the new business here? So you've got the license.
Yeah.
You're like,
still have no clue what's going on.
okay.
No idea what I'm going to do. So
Do you put a sign up or a sticker on your car, or what's the first process?
Well, I had to choose a brokerage.
Oh, okay. So they represent you, or
So you have to, as a real estate licensee, you need to hang your license at a brokerage. So you can't just go rogue. I can't just go, hey, I've got a real estate license I'm going to sell from out of my house.
Okay.
You've got to be part of Remax or
Okay.
Page or whoever it may be. So that, I remember filling out my resume thinking this was a job interview.
Yeah.
Which is not. Obviously, they're all they're giving you their sales pitches to join.
Oh, I see. So it's not like a modeling agency where you're hoping
No.
to get represented because of your, okay.
Yeah. And I had no idea. So I turn up thinking this is a job interview.
Yeah.
Here's my resume, handing it over, and they kind of look at me weird, and I'm like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, the sales pitch starts.
Yeah.
And it took a few seconds
To click
before
in,
it
like,
clicked
oh,
in.
you mean I'm in the driver's seat? Nice. Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, shit, I haven't really thought this through. I haven't really researched any of these companies. I don't know exactly what I'm doing here. Anyway, long story short, a good friend of mine got me in touch with a realtor called Travis Hepner,
Okay.
who was at Page. And I met up with him, and he's like, look, you got to come here and just meet a few people. And everyone was so relaxed.
Yeah.
And I didn't do a huge amount of research. I just liked the people that were there.
People.
And I went, done. That's it. And I've been there ever since. And yeah, how things started, though, after that was hard, because you get some guidance from the brokerage there. That they were great. They really were. But still, there's no one size fits all process to this. You know, are you going to be the bus bench billboard guy?
Yeah.
Are you going to be the podcast guy? How are you going to approach this?
Yeah.
And it's funny, talking about this now makes me realize a lot of the decisions I've made have been because of the people.
Yeah. This is why we do it. This is why I'm doing it.
and it's interesting because I suppose at first I didn't really think about it that way.
Yeah.
And so you're looking around going, looking at all your colleagues and how they frame their businesses, and you're trying to think, well, what will work for me?
Yeah,
So there was a period of time where a lot of it was trial and error.
Yeah. Sort of self-reflection too, and figure out like who am I in this game? Or
and again, you don't know what the game is. You don't know how this works.
Yeah.
So it took a while for me to it took a bit for me to realize, well, I can make my own path. I can make this about me. I can work this in a way that I'm happy.
What's exciting though too,
it
right?
was.
Yeah.
It was, and we were lucky because for a lot of realtors who start up in this game, you have to have a bit of money, because you're not, it's going to take time for things to get going. And we're in a fortunate situation that we didn't have massive overheads.
Yeah.
I made money from selling my business in the UK, and so we were fine. So it was a great period because I could spend the time figuring out how
you bought yourself some time to figure it out, like you said.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I do remember though taking one training course, and the first class they said, write a list of everybody you know. And this was maybe 6 months into living in Canada, maybe a year. So I wrote down my wife's name, my daughter's name, my brother and sister-in-law. That's pretty much where the list ended. So these are the people who are going to help you build your network of clients.
You got to start somewhere. That's fantastic.
So
how old was your daughter at the time?
About a year and a half.
Okay, fair enough. So she could maybe, we'll see.
So fair. I was that was a little concerning at that point, but looking back at it now, it's funny.
It is, but I mean, it does come back to the people. I mean, wherever I work with, and if I do projects with people, it's just I remember a couple bad situations. You're like, I don't want to do that again. But you learn from that, right? You kind of learn like, I don't want to go into that negative sort of space, right?
Yeah.
But if you can get a good core of people together, man, it's not work. Even though you have the work to do, but when you're with your sort of colleagues and whatnot, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Completely.
fantastic. So now that you're, how long have you been doing real estate now in British Columbia, Chilliwack here? This is where we're recording out of.
I probably started in about 2018, 2019.
Okay. So okay. So well established now.
Yep.
What's your strategy on your technique with like when you bring a client on? Is there anything that you sort of take to heart with the process, or what are your initial thoughts of because it sounds like you don't want to do things transactional.
No.
Right?
Yeah, so it's people come to you with.
Is that a fair question? Does that
no,
make
it
sense?
is.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. Yeah, it's. I don't think people realize how when people choose to move, whether it's selling their house or buying their first place, everyone has different needs, and that's, I suppose, what I always I don't have to remind myself. I know this every single time. I like to sit down with people and really understand where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And understand their needs from the outset. Because often people know why they're moving. They have reasons why they want to move. But they don't fully understand how that translates into what they should be buying or how they should approach the process. And
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
It does. It's definitely something I haven't thought of, because you just think, I need a house, buy a house. Like that's
And most people think that. They go, well, it's a straightforward process. You go, I need to buy. How much can I spend? Go on Rightmove, or not Rightmove, Realtor.ca. And, the rest just takes care of itself.
That's kind of how
And for the most part, if it's that simple, that's great. But
Yeah.
it's not. It's not that simple.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's not that easy.
It's some people are moving because of health issues.
Yeah, so that next move has to be very strategic and work for them. Like, okay,
You
so
have
that's
to
not
really
just
look at
Yeah.
the future and go, well, how can we find something that's going to take care of her needs
for long term as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
We don't want her having to move again.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So, so these are things that I have to sit down and have these conversations. Sometimes bring in other family members, and depend.
Wow.
There's so many
Okay.
different elements to it. So I think that's really where I try and start everything. And this is where I love the job here way more than I did in the UK, because, like I said, it was more transactional over there. Here, I really get to spend time with my clients, especially now. I mean, you go back 2 or 3 years ago when the market was booming, we didn't get a chance to do this as much.
Yeah.
And again, it's funny because back then, of course, everything was selling very quickly, and so one would think that means that we'd all be happier as realtors. On the one hand, yes, financially, I suppose that's you could say that, but on the other hand, I look back at the transactions I did back then, and the connections I had were very different to the connections I'm having with people now. I've got way more time to work with people. And actually, a lot of the people I've worked with over the last couple of years, especially, a lot of them have become very, very good friends.
So you're really building a relationship now with everything. Okay.
Which matters to me on a different level because I'm not from Chilliwack.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm building a community that, I didn't have when I first moved here. Like we met through squash. I partly did that because I enjoy playing squash, but also I didn't know anybody in the city, and I felt this would be a good way to meet some people, and we'd go out for beers afterwards, and at some level of normality, something I was used to having back home, I was able to have here. So as time goes, I'm sort of building the community that I kind of left behind when I moved from the UK.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah. So if you do spend time with people, and the house sell is part of your relationship, right? It's not the transaction.
It's not.
So,
no.
And you're right. Like with your type of profession, it's you're in the community so much. With your face is out there, people get to know you. People ask you questions. Your reputation is everything.
Yeah.
So you really want to make sure that's front and center. That's really cool. Yeah, I guess you do have to really think about people's situations, and more than need a house. We all all need a house, keep us safe, but there's so many other variables: age, downsizing, upsizing, market. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Now, I ask everybody this question too. We're so now that you've done your career, you've had some transitions, you've had some pivots here where you've gotten off the plane and you're like, I have no idea. So what advice or what would you say to your younger self as you've grown through your career? Things to watch out for, advice for yourself. What would you say to yourself kind of as you went through this journey? Advice or watch out for this. There's anything. These are the lottery numbers.
Yeah. Try not to put too much pressure on yourself, sort of, again, just without trying to sound cheesy, follow your heart, go with what feels right at that time. I found that's really served me well, but it was difficult at various times. I remember especially that period when I was moving to Argentina and then coming back to the UK. Were real high stress periods of my life because I knew I was doing the right thing, but I didn't feel good about it at all. These were hard decisions to make because you're sort of entering a void, not knowing what's coming. And I would really be second guessing myself with these decisions. So I think just try and, follow your heart, I think we deep down, we know what's what we want for ourselves.
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so. And it's almost, you just have to trust that decision too when you make it, and just go, yeah, we're going to, because in the end, you don't want any regrets.
No.
So when you do feel it, because our gut instinct is pretty spot on a lot, right? I mean, for you to get on that plane and like come to something where you have no idea, that takes some massive courage.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that is better done when you're younger, maybe
Yep.
when you don't have the family responsibilities. Because as we're families, it's a group decision.
It's harder. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not like I'm going to go over it. No, actually, you've got all this to consider, and if you have a dog, you've got the kennel thing. There's so many things to consider.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Right now, making those kind of decisions, I think I've come to the realization that making another pivot like that, it's probably not on the cards anymore.
No, but maybe when we're older, it's like, okay, we're going to downsize. That's
Yeah.
maybe a transition period. But you're right. It's like, no, you just want that stability right now as the kids are getting older, and then it's safe. What are you excited about now, like in your career? What are you excited about the future of the market, yourself in the market, or as you've grown, you're establishing yourself?
Yep.
Any reflection on that? Or
I think now my kids are getting older. They're much more independent. I've spent the last few years sort of building my business, but sort of one eye on the business and also making sure I strike that balance with my kids. And as they get older now, I'm looking forward to putting a little bit more focus, just a little bit more on my business and sort of driving that continuing it in the direction it's going in now. Because up until now, I've wanted to be present with my kids as much as I can be, help my wife out. We've been lucky; she's been able to stay at home and do that part with them, which has been great. But I've wanted to contribute as much as I can to that.
of course, yeah.
One of the big reasons for moving here is I wanted that time. Working from 7 till 7 every day was not something I wanted. And
It's not sustainable.
No, and I always remind myself, we moved here for a reason. We moved here to build a life that we had a vision of, and I wanted to make sure I stayed true to that. But things are changing, and I have more time for myself now. My kids are, when they come back from school, they know I've got to do my homework. I've got to do this, that, and the other, and they get on with it for the most part.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a nudge here and there.
For
You
sure.
expect it, but it just opened things up a little bit for me to really try and concentrate on driving my business forward. Not dramatically, but a lot of it seems to be happening organically.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there are things that I would like to develop.
Well, now that the kids are, they kind of have their own little lives too as they get older. It's like you can start to put time into here. I'll be honest with you, this podcast would not be happening if my daughter was 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's no way.
No.
This would be walled off and like, no, you can't come down here. Well, Nick, that's we've been chatting for almost an hour. It's went by pretty quick here. Anything else you want to sort of mention about sort of the industry itself at this time, or any advice you'd give to a young real estate person coming up right now, the next generation? Anything there?
Play to your strengths. If it's people that you love working with, like I do, focus on that. Do what feels right to you. Don't force it, because this is a game that you need to be authentic. If you're putting on a face, if you're putting on a certain character, people are going to see straight through it. It's just not sustainable. If you want to build a career and you're young, I've been doing this 23 years, and I'm only in my mid 40s. I've got hopefully another 20, 25 years ahead of me. If I was faking it every day, that would get exhausting pretty quickly. And also, it doesn't serve you. You're not going to build the reputation that you want doing it that way. So that's a big thing. So if you're not a people person, then maybe working with investors or whatever. If you're more, if that's more your thing, or working in commercial, there's so many different ways you can do this job to suit all different types of personality types. So I would say that's the most important thing.
Oh, brilliant.
Try and tailor it to work for who you are. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, no, I think authenticity is so important in today's world. So I agree with that. Well, Nick, that was an episode of the OverArch podcast. I appreciate you coming here. I know you're busy today. You got some. What do you got on the plate today?
A few showings. Yeah, got to deal with the kids later as well. Get them to activities, and
So you're busy. I appreciate your time and helping me with this launching this program. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. This was Nick Baer on the OverArch podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for listening to OverArch, the People Podcast.